Welcome to the SimTech podcast, the show where we explore the world of clinical simulation, the technology driving it forward, and the people making it happen. In this episode, we're diving into the world of blended learning immersive simulation suites, or BLISS, a cutting-edge approach of simulation that's shaping the future of training and education. Joining me today are the team from Gener8, which are Chris and Graham, as well as a special guest, John Stratford, who brings a wealth of experience and insights into how BLISS is transforming the way we integrate immersive technologies into simulation-based learning. We'll explore what BLISS is, how it enhances learner engagement, and the challenges and benefits of implementing this approach. Whether you're a SimTech educator or just passionate about the future of training, this episode has something for you. So, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to another episode at the SimTech podcast. Today we're jumping into another supplier showcase, and today we're talking all about immersive and backgrounds. And today we've got the guys from Gener8 and a very special guest that the community will probably know. Gener8 guys, do you want to introduce yourselves, where you are, what you do?
Yeah, morning, Craig. I'm Graham Chadwick, and I'm the owner of Gener8.
Hi, Craig. I'm Chris. I'm the IT director and the coordinator.
And who's your friend? Who are you?
I'm John Stratford, and I'm the education technology specialist at the Northumbria Health and Care Academy.
Wow, and welcome back to the community, John. It's like you've never been away. It's great to see you. You do look a little bit older than the last time I saw you, I must admit.
What a cheek. But thinner.
Ah, yes, you do look a lot healthier. It's just a bit more of the greys coming through to you.
Oh yeah, that's.
I can't say much. Look, I'm coming.
That's an age thing, John. You do know that.
It's distinguished. My hair's still dark though.
More distinguished, John. That's what I was about to say.
That's what I'm going for.
All right. So we're here to talk about Gener8. Graham, would you like to give us a little bit of an introduction to what Gener8 is?
Yeah, sure. Gener8, we were founded in 2014, and we are an interactive digital immersive space company. When back in 2014, it was very much about providing an immersive environment where we could put people, particularly at that time, it was a primary school market we were aiming for, into environments where they could, I suppose, leave their existing space and go somewhere that was totally new and different. Since then, particularly pre-COVID, that's what we focused on was the primary schools. However, during COVID and after COVID, we started to look at the healthcare market, and we found that was a very, the simulation market within healthcare was incredibly innovative and was moving at a heck of a pace. And we felt that the bit that was missing was a fully blended learning interactive simulation space, and that's what we came up with. And since then, we're now in what? We've got 12 distributors all over the world. We have our own office now based in Texas, USA, and we've just formed some very successful partnerships, particularly with Laerdal, which is one of the world's leading company for within simulation. So and sales are going from strength to strength. 2 years ago, we employed 4 people, and now we've got 15, and we're expecting to employ another 2 within the next 6 months. And primarily what we're doing now is we are backing up the service side of place so that we can give excellent quality backup IT service and training, along with high quality bespoke design experiences for our spaces. So really, Craig, that's kind of where we're at now.
Yeah, so John says you're from down south. Where are you based?
Down south? How can you say Manchester? I'm going to say, Manchester is south of Newcastle. I've got to say that. I'm going to agree with you at that point, yes. No, we're actually based in Padiham, which is a small enclave on the outskirts of Burnley. I'm sure you'll know that for that well-renowned Burnley football team. Mm-hmm. And I have to say as well, we are one of their main sponsors now. So You might see me and Chris kicking a ball around on the football pitch.
You won't see me kicking a ball around at the Burnley football pitch. I'm a Blackburn fan myself, so he's only cut that in to wind me up.
We come away from a meeting with Burnley Football Club, Craig, and Chris has to go and have a shower. It's got a detox.
All right. So, for those that have never heard of an immersive background, how do you put it in simpleton's terms? And what is it?
I'll try my best, because some people say to me, "Well, what do you do for a living?" And I find it quite difficult sometimes to explain what an immersive space is. Once you've been in one, of course, it all clicks. What we say is an immersive space is where you put potentially your learners or your students into an environment that is tailor-made, if you will, for what it is they're trying to learn. And that allows you to, in the headspace of the learner, become more real. And then what we do is we interject there, and by using digital and by using software and other visual means, we bring in a whole variety of different assets or learning material in order that the student, one, they can get the benefit of being in kind of a real life situation, but then for the educator allows you to press those students whilst at the same time providing them with digital information as to what it is that they're trying to learn. Because the old saying is, if you tell me, I may remember, but if you involve me, I will learn. And that's the basis of our immersive experiences. You involve the students to a very, very great degree, and at the same time create an aura of like excitement. So what they're seeing and what they're feeling, they say, I remember that now because it made me feel X, Y, and Z. And what we're doing all the time is pushing the boundaries of what you can do in these spaces. We've got some very innovative development taking place at the moment, which again, because the modern students coming through, they learn in this environmental space, and that way it gives you a much more ability to control what it is that you would like these students to experience.
Yeah, like I say, when you go into a simulation center, it's almost like it's generally the backbone of the simulation center now to having an immersive background and projectors onto a wall. And what would you say to the people that think it's maybe a little bit gimmicky, in it more immersive to have, a real clinical background with, real walls, real shelves, and real equipment?
Well, what I'd say about that is, I mean, if you take somebody like John here, for instance, who's when we first talked to John, he had that exact outlook on these spaces. We talked to him, and he's like, "No, I don't want one. They're rubbish. I've seen them. All they are pretty pictures on walls." He was very blunt with us, but we persevered and said, can we just come up and see you?" And obviously, John was our first customer in the medical world. So he has got, well, where he used to work has got Gener8 Room 001. And John was really influential in setting up exactly what a room should do in a clinical situation. Because what we aren't is, like Graham said, we don't come from a medical background, and we don't pretend to come from a medical background. What we do is everything that gets created within the spaces is done with people like John. So John will go, we have a need, it needs to do this, it needs to do that. Then what we do is make sure that particular simulation ticks all those boxes. So what that means is that whatever the outcomes are needed for that, those particular sessions is hit straight away. So we don't create anything and then give it to medical professionals like John or anybody else and go, this is how you have to use the space. Our spaces don't work like that. Our spaces mold around the customer. So the idea is that we put the room in, then we help them create the content. They get all that included. So they get access to my design team. They can come in, talk with John. John will go, this is exactly what I need. Then we'll go and help. I mean, John's really good at making his own content as well. Not everybody is. John's one of the ones that is. But he'll still ask for help on various things, like, I want to bring this in, can we do this, can we do that, and then that's where we're here to facilitate. We're well aware that within these technologies, you have to keep moving forward, you have to keep innovating, but you also have to make sure that it's not a closed book, i.e. you get 15 different backgrounds, you get, so much interaction, you can do this, that, and the other, and that's what you can do. the idea is that we constantly keep mining to make sure that we can expand on what it does. I mean, we have talks with innovative companies all the time. In fact, John, there's one that I need to talk to you about later on. Who come up with brand new innovative things, and then we show them to people like John, and he goes, actually, that's really good. Can I talk to them? We had another company called Versus, which John is talking to, which we got a relationship with, which adds more to the rooms. Adds more to what I'm all for John to fire, if you will. And that's what I would say against that. If that's the way you feel, come and see one. Come and see one. Let us talk to you. We encourage them to talk to customers and encourage them to talk to the overall simulation world. Because we know that there's certain WhatsApp groups and stuff that everybody's in. Talk and ask the customers without us, telling you to do that. So then and find out if it's something that you need.
I think if I could add to that, Craig, if you went back, say, 20 years and into the schools market, and at that point, introduction was whiteboards were coming into the schools, and many teachers would say, "Oh, no, why do I want a whiteboard? I've got a blackboard," and well, nowadays any newly qualified teacher can't run a lesson unless they've got an interactive whiteboard. So if you look at, say, and you use the word gimmick, I think if you're not careful, you're absolutely correct that people just see they just put pretty pictures on walls. But if you actually get into, like John, if you get into the soul of what this space can do, and you've got massive imagination, we can facilitate those. And if you, like I say, if you involve me, I will learn. And you create an environment that your students feel and learn from. And there's no better way. Disney do it perfectly, don't they? You go to Disneyland, you go on a ride, you don't actually ever move from a seat. But you can be on a roller coaster, you can be underwater, whatever, flying through the sky. And what we try to do is these spaces create experiences. And you can twist people, you can press the buttons, you can make them kill somebody without actually killing somebody. If you were to say, let's take, for example, simple BLS, basic life support, and you're doing compressions on a dummy, on a desk, in a nice warm office, bright lights, it's dead easy to get the rhythm right. Okay, now let's transport you and put you on the edge of a road, middle of the night, it's raining, there's noisy cars going past, then try and do the same exercise and get the same readings with all that going on around you. And that's what it does. You can create that real life experience. Is it gimmicky? I think if you don't understand how to use it, it comes across as that. We've tried very hard to make sure that it's easy to use, but we've invested thousands and thousands of pounds in the backup service. So something like John says, this is what I want, this is how I want it to look, and then we go away and make it happen for them. We're not clinical, as we said, but by utilising the experts within the clinical field, we create what they want. And very quickly, the students forget that they're in an environment that is, simulatedly made.
Yeah, John, how did they manage to convert you then from maybe a bit of a naysayer?
A cheap room.
Well,
to
there
a clear
was that
sponsor.
part, yes. Because I'd seen the technology had been out for years, but it never, with various companies I'll not mention, Immersive, and basically the nobody was pushing it forward. It done the same thing. It showed you a background which wasn't particularly very good, blurry, and that was what it done. So you'd be in a disco or you'd be in somebody's garden looking at the conservatory, and it never really done anything to me. I didn't see the appeal of it. If we've already got clinical spaces, why did I need to have this blurry background of someone's garden or something? So it never appealed to me. And I've even had companies come up and set up their kit at when I was at Dash, and they didn't sell it. It just didn't work. And when Gener8 approached me, and it was through LinkedIn, and I immediately liked their attitude about it, and it was more, well, it's not what they can do, it's what I want to do with it. and they wanted it. They were talking innovation and changes with it and making it more interactive. So we did have talks, and I liked what I seen, which is for the first time. So we thought we'd get the first room up at Dash and give it a go, and I've never looked back since. And now,
Did you ever use it to its fullest potential? Because some of the kit, for instance, take a SimMan. SimMan does loads of stuff, but people just don't ever use, the circulatory system. They don't want to make SimMan cry.
yeah, I know.
Sometimes it's just a bit too much effort, a little bit faffy, too much cleanup. Is there a point where actually we're just using it as an immersive background? We're not using, all the extra things that it can do.
I think when I was at Dash, I didn't have the time to invest into it to develop things, or so it was used basically there, and it was trying to get people came in and went, oh, this is fantastic, I could do this, could do that, but then didn't follow through with it. Now, since I've moved position across to the Northumbria Health and Care Academy, I do have that time. I'm not running simulations as such with mannequins and things. I'm creating interactive content, and I've got queues of people waiting for us to create stuff with them. And it's getting used to its fullest potential now. And every time something gets created here, it's always the first time. It's a new thing, which I love. I don't like to reinvent the wheel. But yeah, it's getting used fantastically here now.
How do they go on?
If I could just say there, Craig, sorry, slightly talking over you there, but the old phrase is, if you don't use it, you lose it. And a lot of these spaces in the past have been sold and are now vacant and are basically just gathering dust. We invest heavily into a customer report program where we actively ring our customers every 8 to 12 weeks. What are you doing? How are you getting on with it? What do you need? Is it working? In order that we are constantly pressing the customers to make sure they're making use out of it. And John made a very valid point. It's all about being able to walk into that space and get what it is that you want out of it. Now, content is king in any of this. We get customers that are on, particularly, we get lots of customers, I won't name anybody, we get lots of customers who are ringing us up saying we want X, Y, and Z. We know those rooms are being used. We monitor the computers all over the world. We know which rooms are being used and which are not. If they're not, we're on. Why? What can we do? Shall we send you some more trainers down there? Do you want more content? Because if you get people into the habit of using it, and then they see what benefits they get, they then start to push the boundaries, which is exactly what John's doing. And for me, what we're trying to do with all our customers, irrespective of the genre that you're in, is the fact that we will be pressing you to use that space all the time.
John, did you ever get any feedback off of people that used it?
Yes, I have. I've got feedback things for different courses linked to QR codes, so they can give feedback. As feedback is paramount, because when I create something, or it's version 1. It's never the final thing, because it always evolves through feedback, and it evolves and improves every single time it's used. So the feedback I'm getting is basically 100% across the board. No word of a lie. It's the reactions and the attention people have got in the room compared to being elsewhere. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's weird because now that I've just thought about it, we have an immersive background, not from Gener8, but no one ever has put anything on the feedback form. For Sim, I really like the background. I really like this. I really like that. Do you think it's because it's almost specifically in the background that people, they really don't even notice it as an immersive background? Do you think it's just kind of subliminally in the background? And when they go into into training, into simulation, because they're so caught up on it in it being real, that no one even notices it as an immersive background. They just think it's it's sim. Do you think that could be true?
I do think so. I think they'll overlook that fact. one thing, the one with my rooms that I create or whatever, nothing's actually the background. It's the forefront, because basically there's loads of interactive elements. The walls are fully touch, so you can have equipment, you can have videos, images. You're very much in the room. So so people do take notice of it, because it's not ever just a background. It's always, you're always interacting with it, and which is what draws people in and gets them really involved.
Yeah, and for me, a very selfish way of looking at it is it's a tool for the technician. And it saves us having to replace background equipment, and we can do that kind of stuff at a click of a button. We can change a ward to a theatre, to a domestic house, to a car park, without all the the maintenance and the manual handling and all the effort that goes into changing a room like that. And that's what it is for me. Graham and Chris, what do you need to make this work? What kind of kit do you need?
Well, from a kit perspective, obviously we're a full turnkey solution, so we provide everything. But it works off projection, a PC, and some special proprietary cameras and lasers, and some proprietary software. That's it, really. One thing I'd like to circle back on is, you do keep saying them as background. I think that may be your experience with it. Ours is not background. Ours is not just a background. Ours is a fully immersive touch solution. So our walls work just like a giant iPad. So if we're in a room, we can trigger everything that's on the walls in more than two different ways. So one way would be to interact with it directly. But if we were in brackets wet space, where we're working on a mannequin that may be bleeding, or we're having a proper team, you might not want them to touch the walls, but you still want to bring that information up. We can control that in another way. So the simulation technician, like John, can have a little tablet, and then he can bring things up, and they can look at them, assess them. But everything that you bring up is fully interactive. So if you bring up the patient obs, directly from the mannequin, you can look at it, move it around. If you bring up any PDFs, like inpatient sort of notes, anything like that, we can resize them. We can write on those. You can do the same with CT scans, X-rays, pretty much anything you need to bring into that environment. So while you keep saying background, it really does much more than that. And moving forward, it will do more. Again, we're always innovating. So the next thing is sort of AR, bringing AR into the space. So when you walk in there, you won't just have things on the wall you can interact with. But when, let's say, we touch the heart on the wall, the heart will appear in the centre of the room.
That's next level.
Well, it's already here, Craig. We've already got that. In fact, I'm aiming to come up and show it John soon. So that's something that we're working towards. Obviously, it's still in sort of like a beta stage, but that's where we see these going. So imagine, when you said, "Oh, I'm in somebody's back garden." Why would it be that? But let's say we're doing ambulance training and we're on the side of a road, and somebody's been knocked down. So the road's obviously going here next to us, and you can hear the cars going past. So we're getting the order straight, and we're getting the visual response that we've already got. But when we put the headset on, or when we put the goggles on, the car is sticking out the side of the wall with smoke coming out of it. So what you're basically doing is you're making even those situations and those simulations even more memorable. Everything that you do in life that is memorable, you attach something to it. So if you said, "What's your favourite song?" and you mentioned whatever song it is, it will remind you of a period in time. Okay, so you will have emotions, and also you will have memories attached to that. If we can make lessons memorable, the retention and also the remembrance of those key things will shoot up into the 90s. And that's what we're doing. We're not, it's not about pretty pictures on walls, because that does nothing for anybody. You know what I mean? What we're trying to do is we're trying to push on simulation, and it's all about price to performance, Craig. Is it better than having an actual ward? No, it's not. Is it better than having 15 different rooms on a floor that are different bed sits and things like that? No, it's not. But what it does do is it means you can do all of those in one space at the click of a button. And you can also, what we do with our technologies is we do something called comp scenarios. Okay, so it's not just a 360 picture of somebody's bedroom, or it's a fully interactive environment. So if we go in and we have to look in somebody's cupboards to see, to look for drugs, or somebody's an old person's bag to see if the drugs are expired, all those things we can do, and they're all led by practitioners who tell us exactly what that needs to do. So nothing's done without being measured.
Okay. Just going back to the kit that you mentioned right at the beginning, what was it? Chris mentioned the type of kit that's being put in, but the level of quality of kit makes a massive difference as well. So our computers, our PCs, 5-year future-proofed. They're over-engineered, they're over-spec'd to make sure that they will cope with the grunt that we can push down. The cameras that we use are a very high-grade camera. The projectors are your mid to high range projection system, so that the quality of what you see and the way that it behaves is top notch. And by doing that, you take away this element of it's just an immersive, it's just a backdrop with pretty pictures. The machines that we put in, like I said, 5-year proofed, they're over-spec. But in addition to that, we're now working on other schemes, such as cameraless projection, so we don't need cameras, or we're doing away with different types of projection, so that we're pushing the equipment boundary as well as hard as we can. Admittedly, the downside to that is the prices have to reflect that type of equipment you're putting in. But I think that's where sometimes Gener8 sat apart from the competition, whereby it's not just about the price. We work very closely with Laerdal. Their mannequins, their high fidelity mannequins, kick in at 110,000, 120,000 pounds. They can link direct to our spaces now. Link that with their SIM capture system. So we have full remote video control over what's going on. Our rooms can talk to other rooms. So you can have one in, I don't know, Dubai, and the other one can be in Dublin. And then rooms can be talking to each other live. We can bring people in from wherever into our spaces. So the equipment side of things is, from our perspective, key. But really, it's the PC and the software that's where the clever bit really happens.
All right, well, guys, we're coming up to the end of the half an hour already. If people want to get hold of you for any kind of demos or just contact you in general, what's the best way of getting hold of you?
Okay, well, we have a phone number, which, if you don't mind me giving, is 0161 694 5888, or simply our website, which is the proverbial www.G8, that's golf and the number 8, spaces.com. Quite an interactive website, a lot of information on there as well, and all the email contacts are on there, Craig.
And you've got any conferences or any places where people might be able to see you? Are you going to ASPE this year?
Yeah, we will be doing ASPE. We've just been down at Kingsway. We're looking at the emergency services show for middle of this year, and we've got one at Oxford Brookes University, which I think is, do you know the date?
I don't know the date. I don't have the date in and out.
They're doing it for SIM technicians, and we're going to be down there.
Yeah, and like you say, I'll put all your contact information in the episode description anyway, so if anyone wants to reach out, they can grab a hold of you. So guys, you've still got another minute. Anything else you'd like to add before we can leave?
I would like to actually add something there. Talking about the use in these rooms, the level of quality of it now is that the stuff that I'm creating is going to be going national courses. I've been working with Prompt Maternity on this project, and Prompt has never went anywhere in 9 years. 2 larger classes, things like that, and it wasn't bespoke enough, and nobody really learned anything from it. A lot of people stood back with their arms crossed. Now I've moved it into the immersive suite, and everything's done in one area. And basically, it's done from home to hospital. You've got the interactive, like a Doppler on the wall. You've got things like that, so you can hear the fetal sounds. And what actually happens is that it's now happening in real time. So they actually have to do the real things by doing catheterization and injecting and things like that. So it's really, everybody's engaged. Everyone's running around in real time instead of just pretending they actually are really doing it.
John, that sounds amazing. Do you know what I'd love to do? I'd love to bring you back, and maybe we can spend another half an hour just exploring that if you're up for it at some point.
We
have a massive. Again, there's just a few issues that you picked up on. We have massive groups here within Prompt, and there's a lot of anxiety around simulation, and we're having a lot of difficulties. And I'd love to bring you and maybe put you in touch with some of the midwives here that are dealing with that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
I could just add one final thing. The word immersive experience. I think immersive rooms. We would like that to be dropped and replaced with BLISS, which is blended learning interactive simulation, because these rooms are more than just pretty pictures on a backdrop. Now they're a blended learning interactive simulation space.
All right, well, there you go. You gave us the title for the podcast. All right, guys, I'd love to thank you for your time. It's been great chatting with you, and hopefully we can maybe meet up in a couple of months' time and talk about some of the projects that you've got going on. But thank you.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we look forward to that, Craig.
Yes, thanks very much, Craig.
Well, John.
And you.
See you, fellas.
See you later, guys.
Bye.